Thanks for joining this today's session. And myself, Sambhu from Cloud Tech. And today our agenda is AWS Service Overview. Today I will take you some basic service which basically we used to use for our basic learning, initial learning, beginner learning purpose. And so if you are creating any application as professional level also, that time also this kind of basic services basically we need to create any application. So I have created one architecture diagram here. So by using this one, I will try to cover as much as possible as services here. So, so you know, right? If you are in college student, then we used to create our college application like social media kind of application like a Facebook or Twitter, or maybe if you are creating some library management application or banking system application, whatever it is, either is e-commerce or banking, whatever it is. So for that, basically what we need actually in the application architecture level, if I think about that. So what we need, basically we need web service, one of the web service, then we need app server. Then what we need, then in backend we need some database, right? This is the basic requirement. Now on top this entire thing, how we are managing the cloud in AWS and why we need the cloud in AWS, that also little bit I will give you uh, some highlights, like highlight in the sense like if you are not using AWS, right? What the AWS basically? AWS is a cloud computing service provider, right? What basically used to do, and before cloud computing, what it was now people are doing, right? So let me give you some history so that it will be more easy to you to understand, like why you need AWS, why you need the cloud, right? So before cloud, how people are like we are managing the application, like we used to create our own web server, we used to create our app server and then backend database, and entire thing we used to manage from ourselves in the sense like that how much request is coming, server is down or not, or it's running properly or not, or we need to purchase our machine. Server is nothing but is a machine, right? That community hardware, right? Like a system, right? We need to purchase those, right? So it will be the costly also, right? Suppose we don't know, right? Suppose today you created one application and that application maybe we don't know like in future how it will be grow, right? So think like today you created one application and today you have only 10,000 user, and maybe after some couple of months or subsequent year, now that demand is your application demand is grow, right? Maybe worldwide or maybe in a particular region, right? Then what that application load, it will come more, right? So that you need to take care, right? So to take care that one, then what you need to purchase more hardware, right? And you need to invest more money to maintain those web server or app server, and right. So again some cost, maybe suppose in a particular time your application is huge request is coming, maybe not a entire 24 into 7, not all time, or maybe entire years, right? So which time it is coming, right? That time only you need those many machines or server, right? Machine is nothing but server, those server you need, right? Rest of the time maybe your demand, your application demand is less. Then if you purchase your server, right? So that cost you have to invest, right? And other time you are not utilizing, then you have your money is wasting, right? So in that case, like it's kind of you are investing one time and that entire money it will be blocked for you. Even though you are using or not using your application, that much load is coming or not coming, but you have to maintain that, right? So that's to overcome that scenario, right? Overcome in the sense, suppose today my application is coming requests, think like 1 million requests. So for the 1 million request, I need to manage that service. Like I need to like that what to scale. I need to scale up, scale in. Like I need to manage, right? So that thing, if you are in cloud, right? So whenever you are using cloud in AWS, what the advantage is? Whenever you are using, that time only you need to pay, and whenever you are not using, you don't need to pay. So suppose today your application demand is more, that time you will configure your application in such a way that so that it will automatically scale up and scale down. So that, and that billing also AWS that whatever time you are using, right? That billing will be accordingly it will come. So rest of the time, whenever you are not using, you no need to pay. So that's the big advantage for in cloud or AWS or any other cloud. And in market, right, there are many cloud provider are there, but like AWS is the number one in that market. Like now, like most of the company are using AWS and Azure. Google also is coming, GCP, but AWS is quite famous than other cloud. Okay. So for that, what we can do, we need to design our let me give you that. This is our web server. I have created a web server here, one more web server. Okay. And this is web server is nothing but what it is. Basically, it is a EC2 instance in AWS. EC2 instance is nothing but is machine. Either it's a Linux or maybe Windows, whatever OS you want, you can take it. So this is like a one EC2 instance. Okay. So web server is nothing but a EC2 instance, and on before what web server on top of that, what I put as a load balance. Load balancer basically what it is. Load balancer basically used to manage your load. Load in the sense like suppose 10,000 request is coming or 1 million request is coming, then which web server has to that the request has to be divided to the how many server you have configured, all the server you have to divide. So for that purpose, that load balancer basically it is to manage the request, right? So I will take you when I will give you more details, right? Each and every component. Then I will explain on deep. So just a high level thing. This is like a load balancer is one service AWS is providing. You just need to configure or this auto scaling group, all this thing, and then load balancer will take care how much request to which server has to go. Okay. Then what we need that app server. App server, then here like all the business logic, right? Your application. Suppose you are writing, you think you have, I can say like think you have one backup application, or maybe you have one social media e-commerce application. Think e-commerce nowadays. E-commerce is very hot, right, in the market. So think you have an e-commerce application, right? So e-commerce used to display the front end, right? Front end like UI, those like we can maintain those things that whatever client side we are visibility, right, that we can maintain on the web server. And the app server we can maintain like whatever business logic your application is doing, like whatever offer you are giving time to time, that has to display in the UI client web server, or maybe your entire business logic, whatever business logic for your application you are written, right, that card payment everything, it will be present in that app server. In the app server also nothing but as a EC2 instance here. So that those we used to maintain here EC2 instance. And on top of that app server again, like how web server will be load will be distributed equally to that all the web server. Then app server also we have maintained one load balancer so that it will distribute all the load equally to the app server. Okay. Then what we need in bottom that we need the database, right? All the data information we need to store, right? So for that we need to DB. So AWS is providing different kind of DB, like RDS is providing. On top of that, if you want, you can install MySQL, Postgres, Vertica, whatever you want, you can create it. So those kind of facility also it is there. So we can put that data, whatever our application data, right? Those we can store in that database. Now in cloud, one more advantage in the sense like suppose if you want to take the backup, right, that replication target, basically what it is, replication in the sense whatever your one application is doing. Suppose availability zone one in the AWS there are different kind of zone. Basically in one zone there are availability zone A Z or availability zone 1 or 2 3 like that it is there, right? So suppose availability zone one, whatever your application is running, right? That application data, whatever data it is there, that you want to take replication means backup for the disaster recovery. In future, suppose this particular zone, something has happened. This availability zone AZ, something has happened. So that entire server is down. Think AWS server is down. Then what it will happen? Your application will be crashed, right? In some time you will be lost. Your business will be get lost, right? But in AWS, it will give you that advantage. Like automatically, if you do some configuration, right, then it will automatically give you some replication so that your data will be always safe for the disaster recovery. So that is the one purpose. This replication we can utilize. But if you are managing without a cloud, if you are managing yourself, right, then you need to manage all the data backup and you need to store, or again, if you want, you need to restore back the data. So those things you have to do from yourself. But in cloud, AWS, or either it's AWS or Azure, today we'll talk about only AWS. So in AWS, this kind of advantage is there, cloud. So that's why people are going to cloud. So hope this all component I explained inside this. Now here, this entire thing, right? Coming to the security perspective, right? This entire thing will be stored in, it will be present, you will keep inside the VPC. VPC, what this VPC? VPC like a one private network. This, but if you are not using VPC, then that will be on the default VPC. But if you want create your own VPC, right? Your own private network, so that your application will be more secure, so that inbound, outbound request, security group, inbound request, outbound request, those you can set up all these things. Who can access, who cannot access, what request should go out, what request should come in, those everything you can decide, right? So you have your private network, right? So you can do such, like today, right? This corporate, whatever corporate people are working, right? They have their own private network, either it's a pulse or their own bridge, different kind of bridge, right? If you connect that, then you are in the corporate network, right? So from the public, they have some given access. So here also I will come to that point, how the public access the VPN, how it is connecting, right? To which service basically it is connecting, that also I will come. So this is the VPC, your private network basically. In my subsequent video, I will guide you how the VPC is creating, how the like a subnet, different kind of subnet, right? How it is creating that. I will private subnet, public subnet, basically private, what basically used, public. But there are different things. In deeper, I will give you more details. Just give you highlight, like public subnet basically used to like web server, right? Web server details, like your client detail, client application details, like UI, CSS, those things we can store in the public subnet. And then suppose database, all these things, right? It's a more secure thing, right? So that we can keep as a private subnet. So those things, how the CIDR value, all it is creating, in my next subsequent video, I will explain that VPC in deeper. Okay. So this is the VPC. Now coming to that, like I said, right, nowadays corporate, suppose now this is a private, right? Public, how will access that? That is a VPN, right? Then VPN, how it will connect? Then AWS is providing one NAT service. Okay, so that NAT service, it will be like a from public to private communication endpoint. So that will give you like from VPN, like a VPN, right? So VPN, if you connect VPN, how VPN will connect to inside your private network, right? That basically NAT. It is NAT one service in AWS providing. So that will handle that that communication, private, public, public to private, for that communication. Okay. Now this is the AWS inside that. Now think your application is running. Think in our country, India. If I talk about India, maybe India we have different city, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, right? So all different city, different time, different kind of festival is there. Suppose if it is a e-commerce application, right? Accordingly, that suppose Bangalore what festival is going on, right? Based on the Bangalore festival, you want to give some offer on your application, right? For this product 10%, for that product 20%, 5%, like that, right? Maybe when it is a Kolkata, that time maybe some other festival is going, or maybe New Year, or maybe Dasara, or maybe Durga Puja, whatever it is happening in the Kolkata, right? That time you want to give some offer, right? So same application, but different zone, different what I can say region. You want to bring different content. So if you want to bring different content, then what service we can use? Like CloudFront. The CloudFront basically global CDN. So it used to manage you, like maybe think your application running India or US. Okay. Now India, whatever, if it is a news application, right? Whatever news it will happen in India, that same news will not be shown in the broadcast in the US, right? So different content should be delivered, right? So for that we can use that CloudFront, same application, different place. Like if I talk about, like I talk about, right? If in India, if I talk about like different city, different time, different festival. Accordingly, we have to give the offer, right? For that, we can use CloudFront or Global CDN. That name we can see. Okay. Now, what we can do? We have another service, right? like an image, suppose some data or some store block if you want to store, right? We have a S3 in AWS, S3, EBS, and then EFS. Okay, there is different kind of storage we have. Okay, now S3 basically we used to store the object, and EBS basically we used to attach. Suppose this app server, whatever it is running, suppose in the app server you are running some Postgres. That Postgres, whatever data is there, maybe now this now we are running this app server uh, two EC2 instance. Now in future you want to launch another EC2 instance, so that instance should be same database, right? Same whatever database other two have, backend database should be same, right? Then EBS we can attach to that particular EC2 instance. And S3 basically we can store some object, and EFS by file storage system by name itself you can get like that. This kind of service we have, the storage service. And now this is done, then VP and VPC I have done. Now this entire thing, right? In AWS, suppose you are creating one EC2 instance, or maybe you are created some name, right? That maybe it is a bigger name. That name you want to, suppose abc.com, you want to route to that, right? So that bigger name, if you want to route to internally, whatever name it is there, right? Suppose from end user is typing abc.com or maybe flipkart.com, right? So inside that app server, that is might be defined name, right? That when you in AWS, when you create the instance, right, it will be defined name. But that map, right, you need to do that mapping, right? Then only it will come to that particular web server, right? Otherwise, if you type abc.com, it won't come, right? So by Route 53 in AWS, it's a one more service, which basically by name itself you can understand it is to route, right, redirect to your request, whatever request is coming, that like a remap kind of thing it will do. Okay, so this is the one Route 53 I explained. Then S3 I explained. Then now I said, right, EBS, all this thing is there, right? EBS used to take the back now is this your data, right? That data has to take the backup, right? In AWS, one more service is providing like snapshot. If you want to take, you can take the snapshot as a your database backup, so that your database it will be, and that snapshot also again the replication factor you can do, or maybe that snapshot, whatever snapshot you are taking, right? Maybe you can develop some serverless application like a Lambda or something, and then you can take that snapshot to put, you can put to S3 for your backup purpose. There are different way you can take the backup. Okay, so for that we can use the S3. Okay, then like I said, AWS Lambda, right? Lambda basically used for serverless application. Suppose, like I said, suppose you have one same application, different place, you are giving some content, right? So that content manipulation you want to do based on as soon as some data, you have to push some data. As soon as you push some data, you want to do some manipulation, right? If you want to do some manipulation, that manipulation you can do by AWS like Lambda function. That by using that we can do. So in my subsequent video, I will show you how we can write the Lambda function, and how the Lambda function basically used to work. So that also I will explain you in my subsequent video. And the snapshot I talk about, right? So in my subsequent video, I will show you that in that what do you call it, AWS console. I can show you how that snapshot all you can take, and how where it is basically it is to store. Those things I will explain you in details. Okay. Now coming to this right side, right? In AWS, like I talk about, like this one Lambda, right? So Lambda, whenever we are creating Lambda, then or maybe that in my previous video, I explained you that billing alert, right? Then we have that Amazon CloudWatch, right? CloudWatch, but basically we can use the CloudWatch, the billing alert purpose. In my previous video, if you have not watched that, please watch that video also. You will get and understand like how AWS CloudWatch are used. And whenever you are creating AWS service, right, automatically it will that log basically data. If you want to that what application is happening, right? If you want to see the logs, right? Each and every application have their own log. If you are deploying what you call Lambda function, then for the Lambda function also corresponding log file it will create automatically in AWS CloudWatch. Okay. Basically, it's a logs and notification service. We can say these all service, this right side, right? I am just highlighting here. So these all are notification service. Okay. So let me, or else take this one. It will be more easy. So these all are basically notification service. Amazon CloudWatch and SNS. SNS basically in AWS a simple notification service. What basically it used to use, like in my previous video also by SNS I showed you, right? That if the billing alert, and if you want email service in AWS also we have another email service, ACS, basically simple email service. So that also we can use. So this is the one usability. Already in my previous video I explained that. Just I gave you highlight details here. Now, like I was explaining you, right, two different bucket. If you want to do some data manipulation, then you can use that Lambda function. And by Lambda, you can manage that, what do you call, data manipulation, you can manage. This is the one I am just talking about. Okay. Now, coming to the security, right? What all security features we have in AWS? The security, like I said, right? If you are to make your application is a completely private instead of public, right? We can use the VPC. On top of that VPC, there are different, we used to define key, right? AWS, that secret manager. I will, in my subsequent video, I will show you how secret manager we can access data or how we can publish the data in secret manager. And that secret manager data, how we can use in our application. Suppose, think this is in that app server, you have some API or some API you have, okay? That particular API you are protecting by AWS Secret Manager. You are providing, if people have some particular secret or token, by using a token only you can able to access that particular your API. Okay. So what we are doing, we are publishing the token to the AWS Secret Manager here. We are publishing the token in AWS Secret Manager. And when someone is trying to access your API, what has to do first? They has to have the access of your that particular token, whatever token or maybe key, API key or whatever it is. We are keeping that AWS Secret Manager, right? First, they has to take that Secret Manager. From the Secret Manager, they has to take the token or API key, and they has to pass that particular request, whatever API they are trying to access, right? In that payload, they has to pass that the token. Then only they can able to access. Otherwise, they can't able to access. So those kind of data, right? That is a sensitive data, right? So what we can do, that sensitive data we can store in the secret manager. Okay, I will in my subsequent video I will come into the more details, like how secret manager is work and how data we can access through CLI or maybe our programmatically. Okay, then we have a like a different kind of PEM file or maybe different kind of card, right? Certificate basically we have, right? So that KMS, we have one more service like key management service. We can use this KMS to manage our key for our application. And on top of that, one more interesting security in AWS is providing IAM. Okay, this IAM is the one more interesting security features, which by using that we can specify some role, IAM role, right? So by that, who can access what service, who can access what application, like who can access which S3 bucket. Suppose in your think in your organization, you have multiple S3 bucket and you have multiple people, multiple application, but all the people, all the service, all the user cannot access. We cannot give the access, right? So we have to give some like role based or something like that. So that thing we can manage basically by AWS IAM role. This in my subsequent video, I will, the security stuff, right? Whatever I discuss here in my subsequent video, I will take you in deeper. Like in AWS console, I will show you how we can create that, how we can, if I attach one particular service, either is EC2 instance or maybe S3 bucket or whatever it is, whatever service, if I attach that particular role, IAM role, so that that particular user only can access that particular S3 bucket, other user will not able to access. That how we can test it by AWS CLI command. If you want to see that the content of that, suppose if it is S3 bucket, right? That S3 bucket, suppose I gave the particular access for only the cloud tech, but whatever cloud tech, maybe 5 user is there, one user I gave that particular bucket access. if you that particular user, if from AWS CLI or maybe from some other application, right? When they are trying to access, right, they will get the access. But other user, maybe other 3-4 user I have, or whoever have the access, they only can access that particular service. So that purpose we can use this IAM. So this security, hope this security thing is you understand. Also, one more thing, maybe I am going little fast. So if you have any doubt or anything or any question, if you have, please put the comment so that I will address in my free time. I will address those whatever comment you put. I will definitely address those. And hope this session will helpful to you guys also. So please share it with your friend also, so that people will. If you also, if you like my this video, please subscribe also my channel. Okay. Now coming to the left side. Left side, I am giving you audit features. Basically, audit features means suppose your application, right? Who is using this? Is nowadays marketing, right? Business to gain your business, to grow your business, right? You should first understand like what people, what it is looking for. So based on that only you can put some like a notification or give some offer to that particular user, right? So what they are looking, right? That what request is coming, what response you are returning. So that those requests, like you have to audit, right? So that your business will be grow more, right? So, or maybe defined purpose audit, right? Who is accessing your application or any defined kind of audit, right? In industry, right? You know, right? Just sorry. So for that audit purpose, right? What we can do, like we can do audit like whatever real-time data is coming, right? That data we can store in one big data. Big data in the sense like you can think Hadoop, or you can think HBase, or you can think nowadays Teradata or Bhatika. Different database has the big data. Nowadays it's a big data, right? We can manage those like a big amount of data in those database, right? So it's your choice what you want to use. So you can use this. So here in this architecture, I am just showing you here HBase. So HBase, I'm storing all the request response, whatever audit for my audit purpose, right? For the application audit, we are storing here. Suppose you have created HBase, just I'm giving you highlight like HBase. What basically HBase is a big data service database, and basically is a columnar database where we can store as a key and value your data. It's a kind of what you can say has map, you know, right? Java. So those kind of concept you can say key value pair. So you can store that or your big data into here as a text format, unstructured format, whatever you want, you can store here. Okay. Then you have to process the data, right? In AWS, we have one service like processing either the data you can process by either it's a Hadoop or maybe Spark, whatever that processing data, that different technologies there. Right? Spark, you know, right? Spark is a real-time data processing application. Like from big data, if you want to convert the data to a structural database or structural where the who is auditing, right? Admin, he can understand, right? Data means there are different unstructured data will come, right? Unstructured data, it will be not a good readable. That some good user friendly API or good user friendly what I can say, some interface we have to provide, right? So for that, we need to manipulate the data, right? So that in that good interface like a pie chart, bar chart, or table format, which user, what purpose is coming, what the product they look into that. So based on that, if you want to give some offer, right? So for that, the data you have to first process and you have to store some other like a big data structured database component or like a Vertica. Here in my demo, like I am here taking as a Vertica, or you can take as Teradata also, or you can take different nowadays database is there, MongoDB, different all the database. The market is many databases available. You can take as your wish. So here I have took the Vertica. Basically, it's a HP product. Now I think it's a Micro Focus product. So so you can take this Vertica. So that from Vertica now you have to write some other service, which service will basically convert that data to display to that. Here, if you see, right, this is a admin visibility, right? Like some chart, pie chart, bar chart, or line chart, whatever format you want to do, right? That also you need AWS service you can use, or maybe there are market defined like a bots, right? That bots basically application that basically used to how you can say like that pie chart, bar chart kind of thing if you want to create, right? So that for that you can use the bot application. So that's it, I guess. So I think I have covered this, that, here, there. This I have covered. That corporate I was talked about already. The audit purpose I have talked about. What else? Like that, actually in AWS there are many services there. Here I have to like some basic app service which basically we can use in our basic application or for our learning purpose. Okay. So hope this session will help to you guys. So in my subsequent video, then I'm thinking I will talk about the VPC first, like how we can create the cider value, all these things, right? The public private subnet, right? That thing I will, in my next video, I will come that. Then I will come to AWS Secret Manager one time. Then I will come in subsequent video, this kind of application also. Thanks.